Welcome. We'll be starting in about 3 to 5 minutes, okay? I can't hear you guys. You got to take your phone off and mute.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Oh. Matter of fact, I'm going to put you in the back real quick because I got to play a video and I want to make sure it shows. I'm just going to put you in the back, okay?
Okay.
Wait.
That's us. That's us. That's us.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. I'm waiting for this, and we will get started.
Are we on?
I think so.
Hi.
Hello. Hello. We're waiting for Kiss. Kiss will be coming. Okay. So, like I said, we'll be starting between 3 and 5 minutes. So, you know, just get something to drink and your lightings look great.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
I really appreciate it. Yes. Everyone looks great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I wish I could look that great on camera.
I literally just had to throw myself together.
I wish one day they start putting filters.
Made this bigger. Nope.
Right, I'll be like, where's the filter at? Where's the filter at? Hey, Chriselle. Hey, Lucid. Hey, Tracy. Thank you guys for coming in the chat. Hey, Coco Mommy. Oh, thank you for listening. What are you cooking? All right. So how you guys' day been going so far?
Been a busy day.
Yeah,
it has been. Long day.
It's been long. I'm tired.
Tired.
Crazy.
So has your state shut down yet, or mask required, or?
Sam?
I said, has your state required mask or what?
Yeah, Hawaii's pretty strict right now. They're like super serious with the mask, and they just extended it another month for people who are coming back into the state to be in quarantine.
Okay.
But we have the lowest cases in the country, so it's like
That's
it's
good.
kind of a win-win.
What about you at the top? Polly Patterson 3.
We're in New Jersey, so they're pretty strict up here too. We're pretty much like things were slowly starting to open up, and now with all the craziness going on down south, I don't know what's about to happen.
Right. It's getting ridiculous. Hey, Team Cozy. How are you?
Hi guys.
Hey.
Sorry, my hip was just used as a step. Are you okay? How you guys doing?
We were just sitting here talking
Do I have
about how.
Do I have a minute
We were
to try and
sitting here
change over to my
talking about
computer screen?
how,
Did you hear me?
everybody's, requiring masks and shutting down, making sure everybody's safe and stuff like that. So we're just chopping it up real quick. And
Do I have
we
a minute
have,
to change over to my computer?
oh, sure.
Yeah, it's up right now. I think it's better because I have poor vision, so I can barely see the screen. It'll be like a second, if you don't mind.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Oh, why you want to okay, now you want
Hey, Elements 9 Harmony. How are you? I know you're mute, but just wanted to say hi. Thank you so much for joining.
Yes, of course. We're good. Thank you for asking. How are you doing?
So I'm gonna wait for everyone to join. Give it about 2 more minutes, and then we'll get started. I know you guys are so busy, and we're so grateful that you all decided to work with the Squad TV. This is the first time that we have decided to do this topic. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought so because I'm the loud one. This is the first time we decided to do this topic, and Kiss was very adamant about getting the information out there because there's people like me who are really, we only see one side, right? So when we see about polygamy, we only looked at, like, for me, I've only seen like sister wives or other stuff, right? And so it's wonderful that you all are here because now you can tell your story, tell how you all operate. You all seem like one big happy family, right? Like you guys look like one beautiful family, and a lot of times things are portrayed differently on TV or by other people's eyes. So why don't we're gonna start. If that one more person, she was trying to come back.
I'm back.
I don't want to. I want to hold her off, but Polly Patterson, why don't you tell us? Give us. We're just going to go into a round table of introduction. Tell us about yourself, you guys, and things in that nature, and then we'll just go on to Elements 9 Harmony and Team Posey. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. And Mary Jane Lane.
Marjani.
I'm sorry, it's a beautiful name too.
So I'm Cameron. And I'm Kelsey. And we're 2/3 of Polly Patterson. We're a close male, female triad.
So If you're not familiar with what a triad is, and our closed triad is an equal relationship between the three. We each have separate relationships within the dynamic, and then as a whole, we have our triad throuple relationship.
Okay. Now, what is triad means?
Triad. So it's basically like a couple, but with 3 people. Like a three. So
it's a triangle. The shape would be a triangle. It's like dyad, which is like a 2-person relationship. So 3 people would just make it a triad.
Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is just to make sure that we don't get any echo. What we're going to do is I can mute you, or you can mute yourself when you're not speaking, just to make sure that there's no echo and, no loud noises, so we can hear everyone clearly. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Elemental 9 Harmony. Can you give us a little bit of introduction about yourself, please, you all?
Yes, of course. So we are Elemental 9 Harmony. We are 2/3 of our triad as well. Me being Zoe, and I have Delina here with me as well. So similar to the last couple, we are two out of 3-person triad. However, we're a little different. Delina and I like to keep our relationship as sisterly as possible. We do hold hands or cuddle or like to watch movies together at times, as sisters or as best friends. But that's about the extent of our relationship goes.
Our bond is more of a sisterhood.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining. I greatly appreciate it. Team Cozy.
I know, right? We're Team Cozy.
I unmuted you.
Sorry. We're all lesbian quad, so it's 4 of us. We were a triad back in the day, but
just recently became a quad.
So
in the same way.
Somebody else.
With the same way with Polly Patterson, where their separate relationships make up their one big relationship. It's the same situation here, where everybody is in a relationship with everybody, and we all come together to make one big quad.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
And Lane, you're next.
Okay. So
wait a minute.
I got muted. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. I'm Marjani Lane. I am polyamorous. I am married, but I navigate my poly differently than most people. So I date. I have two separate relationships, and they are with men, and they do not interact with each other. So a lot of people kind of see me as into polyandry because I typically date men, but I do date women, but it's very separate. I am looking for an open triad, but I'm not going to be interested in anything closed. So I do date separate. For the most part, I separate date multiple men, just simply put.
Okay. Well, thank you again, ladies. Your host is here. Her name is KissTheVeil, so she will be taking over now. I'll be going back in the bushes, but thank you so much for taking the time to spend with the Squad TV, and many blessings, and stay safe. Thank you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. So I'm gonna let you all know hello and thank you all for being here. Thank you all for coming to and supporting the chat, supporting the channel, supporting the people that's agreed to do the panel tonight. First, I would like to say for tonight, there will be no disrespect in the chat or on the panel. If you have an opinion or you don't necessarily agree with what is being said, you are perfectly okay to have your opinions. Please do not be disrespectful to our guests, not disrespectful to anyone in the chat. And we do have mods in the chat moderating. The first time you will receive a warning. The second time you'll be timed out. Hopefully there won't have to be a third time, but if there is a third time, you will be respectful. Okay? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello?
we can hear you. We
Okay,
can
you
hear
can
you.
go ahead.
Yeah, I can hear you. I just had to mute it.
Okay, go ahead. So we're going to be playing the video that pretty much describes what polygamy is, or what being polyamorous is, excuse me. Just give her a second to pull that up. How y'all doing today?
I'm doing good.
Oh, look, you see me over here.
It's high. She is really talking a storm. She did not want to talk earlier. Ignore
Our kids are right behind us,
and they want to talk to you all.
Yeah, they hear people
Okay, I'm
talking.
gonna start playing. If everybody can mute their mic, I'm
Yep.
going to start playing the video. If you don't mind, thank you so much.
That's not the video. I can't hear.
Well, maybe because I muted. Oh, sorry. Y'all gonna beat me up. Maybe because I muted my phone. I'm sorry. I don't know. Did you not hear?
No, we didn't hear it. Can you restart the video and play it over again, please?
Yes, I'm sorry. I do apologize, guys.
Okay, it's okay. Thank you.
Can everybody else mute their phones, please? Thank you.
Going on while the video isn't playing, but it did it earlier when we did our test run. You guys can let me see. Going on while the video isn't playing, but it did it earlier when we did our test run. Okay. Can you all hear me good though?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. All right, I don't think I'm gonna keep everybody waiting for the video. Okay, so I'm gonna explain why I decided to do this panel, why I feel like it was a good idea. You guys can unmute now. We're not gonna wait for the video, we're gonna move on. Why I wanted to do this and why I feel like it's for women to put in the front of talking about being poly. So many times, or at least the times that I've seen is men stepping out and speaking about having relationships. I feel like this is really important for the women and from a woman's perspective on what poly is and what it means to you, or how it benefits you in your everyday life. So the first question I want to ask you is, how did you find out about polygamy? Start with the parents.
Did you say us?
Yes.
Okay. So, for me, I found out kind of from social media. Like, I would see things like I don't know, like random things on like Twitter and like Instagram, and it was like interesting, but I never thought like I would live that life. I was just like, oh, like that's cool for them, like that'd be cool, but I feel like I'm way too like just regular and like not cool enough to live a life like that. So I didn't think that it could ever be for me.
I actually didn't really know too much about polyamory or polygamy until I started like doing research because I was like moving into this dynamic with Cam and Tony. I kind of just like knew I was bi-curious and like wanted to explore and met them and like really enjoyed their company. And then I started to like ask questions like, what is this? And then started doing research after that.
Right. Okay. We're going to Posey.
Hey guys. So the only thing I know about polygamy was actually from TV. Like when you're growing up and you watch like Sister Wives and you're like, oh, it has such a negative tone on it, and it's used as a form of like entertainment or laughter. So when we actually started dating, it was like we knew nothing of polyamory. We only knew about polygamy, which is like the one guy and the multiple wives. So it took some research.
We didn't find out that there was an actual term for the type of relationship that the three of us were in at the time until probably we were 3 or 4 months into being together, that we actually found this whole community, and then we started to branch and expand. And I think it's the same for Sheena as well, where she didn't realize what it was until she really got to know our relationship.
They like being loud.
Okay, so Cam, you said the three of you were in a relationship. The three of you were already together. Like, raise your hands before the fourth person joined. I'm sorry, I can't see the third. Oh, okay. So the three of you were in a relationship. So who joined last? I guess. She don't want to say.
Yeah, we're the original.
Oh, what happened?
It's still on, babe.
Oh. Yeah, we were the OGs, and then we recently added Shane.
The newbie.
The newbie.
Okay, Mary Jane.
Marjani.
Marjani?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. It's fine. I'm used to it. Say it.
I said we were trying to figure out earlier, Marjani. Okay, that's pretty.
Thank you. I found out, I guess like my first exposure to polygamy was a mixture of the Sister Wives situation with the TV show, and that was just like my impression of it from like non-Black people. And then when I used to be a part of the Nation Gods of Earth, and that's another exposure I got from it with the Nation of Islam influence. I knew that I could do the whole like polygyny thing, but I knew I didn't want to be I didn't want there to be only one man. Like that was never something that was like ideal to me. So I did do a lot of MFF closed triads before I was like, you know what, let me stop trying to force something that's not really I'm into. And that's when I started dating different men separately for my polyamory. And the word like polyamory came along. I knew about polyamory when I was doing the MFF triads. I guess that I think the norm is the MF, the man with multiple women, and I just felt like that's what I was gonna be stuck at because I didn't know any other place to go. There was no one else doing what I'm doing now at that time. I say that time, but that location, like growing up, in North Carolina, no one else is doing that. So I felt like that the next best thing was just to do the MFF for me. So that's how I got exposed to it, I guess you could say.
Okay. My phone was doing some weird stuff over here. Delina, Zoe, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, your turn.
All right. So for me, I was first introduced to polygamy through my great grandfather. I knew that he had the type of relationship to where he had multiple wives. And
Oh man, can you?
I'm sorry, can you hear me now? Okay, I don't know why it was making that noise before. But so yeah, I first heard or learned of polygamy through my great grandfather, through his relationship that he had with his many wives. What about you, Delina?
Oh, maybe they were having difficulties. I see they dropped off. Kids, we can't hear you. Okay, I hear you now.
I'm like, I say technical difficulties happen all the time. Okay, so what I want to know is when you all started to date, or bring in more people into the relationship, how did that work out for you all?
I guess we can start. For us, a transition. Like I was in a relationship with our boyfriend, and it kind of all of us were like being curious, and we didn't really know what we wanted with it. So transition from like being friends and not really knowing what we wanted to being in a relationship. But the transition was pretty rocky because it took Kel and Tony a while to like connect, and Kel and I connected like instantly. So I would say that was like the toughest part of becoming a triad, was like getting their relationship. Well, I guess for me, just patiently waiting for their relationship to evolve the way that Kel and my relationship just like was so seamless.
Thank you. Delina, would you like to? Delina, would you like to? Oh, this is acting a little crazy.
Okay, so the next guest can go ahead and speak.
I think their mic is muted.
Okay, whoever wants to go next, can go ahead and explain how they were introduced or initiated the polygamy aspect.
Come on, folks. So for us, it was a little bit harder to navigate because we all started, the original three started dating around the same time. And so it was more about learning personalities and people's emotions and their love language, or how to communicate. That was the hardest hurdle to get over because we don't all communicate the same way. And I'm like a very blunt person. Maya's a very like quiet person. B is also blunt, so sometimes we will bump heads a lot. And learning how to
effectively communicate, because we would both sit there and say, well, I feel like you're making me feel like blah 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 blah, and she would be like be quick to snap back, and it's like, okay, now we're just arguing and we're not coming to an understanding of where each other are coming from. And then because me and Posey are so blunt, we would tend to say stuff without thinking about it and then hurt Maya's feelings. And I think Jean's pretty much the same way too, where she's also very sensitive when it comes to receiving feedback in regard or communicating. So it was definitely, it took some time for us to be able to make sure that everybody felt heard and everybody's feelings felt valid, regardless of how small or big they are.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, Marjorie, if you want to go ahead next.
I think so. Once again, so my partners don't interact with each other. They're not in a relationship with each other, only with me. I think the hardest part I dealt with as far as adding men to, I'm pansexual, so I do date women, but I'm saying men right now, come on, date men. Adding men to my dynamic was the fact that I had to deal with different levels of ego and different levels of how they express their manhood. And I'm really big on like making sure there's a balance. If you're a man that depends on my submission, you don't need to date me. Like if you depend on me to be submissive for you to feel valid in your manhood, you cannot date me. And that's something that I deal with all the time. There's men who are open to the idea of me being polyamorous, and okay with me dating other men, but they want to be the main man. They want to be man number one, and it's an issue I've dealt with and still dealing with for a few years now. So I think that's the biggest issue as far as adding someone. It's like adding someone to my polycule and letting them understand, like, hey, there may be a time when you may see both my partners at the same time, and if they offer you a cigar, are you going to like have this like, you know, brawl or something for manhood, or who's the most alpha man present? And and that's something I've had to like really deal with, because a lot of men kind of mystify me about how willing they are to fight about who has control of the woman, and it's really weird. So that's something I've had to balance out quite a bit, was finding men who are secure in the manhood and don't need to, like, I don't know, fight another man to be with me. And so, like, for the most part right now, all of the people I deal with romantically and or casually are actually cordial with each other. Like, they've had drinks with each other, they've shared cigars.
Right.
So it's really helpful to have that for me. So that's something I think is the most difficult, is finding men who aren't going to try to start a fight. As primitive as it sounds, it's a thing.
Right.
So,
like what I like to call it, or what I refer to it as, like they have a penis swinging match. Like,
yes.
Yeah. So I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
It's very difficult. But like I said, the men I've been doing now, and doing it for the past 2 years, 2.5 years, 3 years for Cornesco, they've been pretty good with it. They understand, and they navigate their manhood differently than the men that want to go and do a penis swinging match. So I'm cool with that.
Okay, awesome. Zoe and Delina, would you guys like to go next?
Wait, hold on. I wanted to comment on what she said, because I do hear a lot of women. A lot of women do speak about how, well, if a man can have multiple wives, why can't have multiple husbands? And I tell them all the time, you can. You know, being poly is not just about two women and a man, or, you know, so that's why like I said, I picked you all because I wanted them to see different dynamics of poly relationships. Everything doesn't have to be just a man and multiple women. There are women who have multiple husbands. There's women who have multiple women. There are wives who are, you know, whatever y'all, you know, whatever you go by, wives, wives, girlfriends, husbands, girlfriends, boyfriends. And then same thing with men. It's some men who date multiple men, but it doesn't mean that just because you're poly, you only have a relationship with two women or multiple women and one man. But a lot of women do speak about how they feel like it's so hard to find men who would be okay with having that type of poly relationship. So I just wanted to comment on that. Okay. Zoe and Delina?
Yeah, we're here. So we actually didn't hear the topic or the question, so we were wondering if you could repeat it again.
So the question was just how you all were introduced to the poly life, and more so like who was it initiated by, as far as the original, I guess, couple who was already in a relationship.
Okay, Zoe, do you want to speak on this since it was initially? And then
Sure. So I initially learned of polyamory through my background. So I'm African, and I grew up in Africa till I was 8, and I grew up with my great-grandfather, and he had multiple wives, and that was my first instance or experience with polygamy or polyamory. And then it wasn't something that I thought I would practice until getting into my current relationship, before I decided to explore this type of relationship. So Delina, share.
Yeah. So for me, I was introduced to kind of through various forms, growing up, just observing different and studying different religions and things like that. It wasn't something that I thought about really getting into until my previous relationship, actually, where just the dynamics of our relationship, I actually wanted to open our relationship up. And we did try that, but I felt like I just needed a little bit more structure. Now, I also have experience being a nanny for many, many families, and I feel like that is when I really started to consider the dynamics of a polygamy relationship where there are 2 women and 1 man, and just within the typical family structure, especially nowadays, when it comes to being able to afford living, here in America, it's very difficult for just one spouse within the home, within a typical monogamous relationship, for one spouse to stay home and the other to work, and for children to still be at the forefront when it comes to the care and attention that they need. And bringing in a nanny into that equation, there's a lot that can be done financially for the family, but also the nanny is there to take care of and really to focus on what the child needs for its further learning and growing and things like that. So for me, that kind of really tied into what I started to kind of really see for me and the dynamics of the relationship that I wanted. And it wasn't until I actually met Zoe and Kulu, because they were a couple prior to me being involved with them, is when I started to practice polygamy fully.
Okay. Kids, we can't hear you if you're talking, boo.
Oh. I'm sorry. I keep forgetting that my mic is being muted. But what I was saying was, I'm happy that you brought those points up, because that was actually one of the biggest questions everyone wanted to know. And I feel like I'm a little knowledgeable about in what ways do being in a poly relationship benefits the woman, because a lot of people only seem to think that it's all about the man or men, and it's just not the case. So I wanted to know from you all's experience with poly, how has being in a poly relationship versus a monogamous relationship like added to your life?
For us personally, it benefits our children more than anything, because someone's always available, someone's always home. The nurture they get is outstanding. It's always someone that can help you, because being a single parent is hard. Being a couple and having kids is hard. But when you have so many hands on deck, someone's always available to support you in any type of way that you need and change the schedule around if that's what you need. It's been super helpful. Besides the incomes are amazingly helpful to navigate, because it's already tough enough as it is in our economy to make it, but the extra benefits of the financial support,
we're able to give our kids and ourselves a better life than all of us had growing up, because there is somebody who will always, you don't have to worry about who's going to work, because there's always somebody home. You don't have to worry about if you can get this or if you're going to have diapers, or, because there's multiple incomes instead of just having to rely on the two.
You'll never have to miss a school function or a doctor's appointment.
Like you'll always have a parent there.
Yeah. And you never really have to go anywhere by yourself. Even if you wanted somebody to watch your kids, you can still go out with a girlfriend. So I actually like that part. It's the best part.
I don't like y'all like that.
Okay, so I just want to ask a question about that before we move on to the next person. Because that is something that I've always, like questioned when it comes to poly relationships. Like, how do you decide? Like, for instance, me personally, I don't think that I could be in a poly relationship, for the simple fact of some of the things that you all see as benefits. I would, me personally, I wouldn't be comfortable with somebody who maybe stays at home with the kids while everybody else in the household works, right? So what do you got, how do you decide which person, okay, you're not, you're going to be the designated person who stays at home with the kids, or you're going to be the designated person who, does XYZ, but everybody else is out working and bringing in the income while that other person is basically just staying at home.
So with me, I literally do everything that comes to the house. I make dinner, I make breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I do laundry, take care of the kids. I make sure that they're hitting all their milestones and all that good stuff.
Mine's naturally
it
good at it.
It took me the longest to realize that my job was beneficial, and it wasn't. I felt like I was useless because I wasn't bringing in any money. But at the end of the day, me staying home, taking care of the house, and taking care of the babies, it was better than bringing home money.
Because it took that pressure off of our plate.
Mm-hmm.
So now we don't have to come home and be like, well, who's going to make dinner? None of us feel like making dinner.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's just go buy something then. We come home, dinner's already done. Right. The kids are bathed.
Yeah.
We live in a world where I don't want to take my kids to daycare, because I've heard so many horror stories of people accidentally losing their baby, and the daycare lady tried to hang a baby from a ceiling, and we wanted these kids so bad that I was willing to leave my job. But Maya's the best one at it. Maya's she's so attentive, and her attention to detail when it comes to them is amazing. So we don't delegate who does it. It's the natural order of selection. Like me, I'm the techie person. You can't figure out your stuff, I can help you with that. B is really good at scheduling. I can't remember a date to save my life. She can. She is really good at financials and shopping. She dressed me. This is her outfit. I didn't even dress me.
So it's really important to know that we all play our roles, and without one another, we
would
wouldn't
fail.
function.
Like I would be eating microwavable dinners, and my kids probably.
And I probably wouldn't have any clean laundry, like because I would just forget to do it. Like
Maya's like, I don't even know how to work this phone. I got you. Like she wouldn't be able to set this up without me. So it's not necessarily playing to a weakness. It's what are your
it's
strengths?
playing to our strengths.
It's your strengths. I'm honest and know I'm not good. I can't cook water. Okay, I can't boil anything. We will starve. That's a weakness of mine, but I'm honest about it, and I'm not hurt that I'm not good at that. Mm-hmm. We live in a society where that one person is supposed to be 100% good at everything for you. No, that's not realistic. That's not realistic. You need to be able to have time for yourself, your kids, and your partner. Mm-hmm. But how can you if you're 100% for one person? Yeah. Like, how am I supposed to give my kids my attention if I'm supposed to be giving all my attention to just this one person, or they're really possessive, or they're really clingy over me, instead of being like having that conversation of, I just need time with you for right now. And that's fine. And you can still go do what you would love to do and what your heart would want you to do, like walking in your
greatness.
That's it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, look, I'm gonna say this. You're definitely right. That's one thing that scares the crap out of me. I'm almost 30. I'm knocking on 30's door. I don't have any children, but that's one thing that scares the living daylights out of me, is having children. But and feeling like I may not be good at having this maternal essence about me when it comes down to, you know, having children or raising children, because like I see children now and I'm like, oh, they're so cute. You know, yeah, I like to hold them for a little bit. Yeah, I'll babysit, but I don't really feel like that maternal thing kick in. You know, I don't really feel like it's there for me. I'm one of those people. I feel like if I don't have any biological children of my own, I'm okay with that. Like that just kind of scares me. So I'm happy that you did bring that point up. Everyone is not good at that. Everyone is not good at being a maternal figure and taking care of the home, taking care of the family. So that really is a great benefit to anyone, especially when you think about outside of work and relationships, children, and the home, having everyone come together and be able to play on their strengths with dealing with those type of relationships is amazing. Okay. All right, Patterson.
Okay.
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Oh, the question was, what are the benefits of being poly for you? Like, what were some of the benefits that you received by being in a poly relationship?
Okay, so for me, I think the biggest benefit of being in a polyamorous relationship is just the ability to have a relationship, an intimate relationship with a woman as well as a man. Men just don't understand women like women understand women. Kim and I have almost like this fluid relationship where we're like sisters at some points, best friends at other points, girlfriends at other points. So it kind of like we just like fluctuate within that spectrum on a constant basis. And so I think for me, I think just having like a best friend, but also like a girlfriend at the same time, and also having a boyfriend, like it's just a very full experience, something that I've never experienced before. And it's really great.
Yeah, I agree with everything she said, everything Team Posey said. We don't have kids, but like things like cooking dinner or like whenever we're cleaning the house, like we're just so much more efficient. Like with folding clothes, we're more efficient. Like household chores are way better. The incomes are great. And just like having 3 adults, like, you know, we all have our strengths too. So having 3 people to like build each other up, I just feel like it makes life really smooth.
Okay, Delina, Zoe.
Right. Yeah. I think both of you brought up some really, really good points. Just to speak on a little bit when it comes to just the family aspect of things and you know, ensuring that someone has or how does someone decide within the relationship what someone's role is, you know, who is the nurturer within the family. And you know, with us, we definitely agree as well that we play upon each other's strengths. So, you know, when we even began this relationship, we began it with the intention of building upon our strengths and weaknesses. So we chose each other based upon what we felt that we could grow in and who could help us do that, you know? So I definitely agree that, you know, when it comes to deciding that role, it just naturally comes to some women, and that's okay if it doesn't come to, you know, you may be an amazing cook, you know, and that is, I feel like in a poly relationship, it really encourages us to step into our power and purpose and not constantly try to compete. You know, I think a lot of us are in a purpose that isn't necessarily our own, and it's only there because we're, you know, trying to compete for certain resources, whether it be one man or another woman or something like that. And I think in a poly relationship, it really allows you the space for you to be you and to step into what you as an individual, you know, is your strengths and the purpose and gift that you want to give to this world, you know. And so I definitely agree with y'all when it comes to, you know, that purpose and those roles just being naturally kind of identified as, you know, by the individuals inside the group naturally. And then to add on to what y'all were saying as well, or what you were saying when it came to the feminine and masculine aspect, because within our, you know, dynamic of our relationship, you know, I have a, you know, I'm in a relationship with a man and a woman. And so for me, I find that both sides of me as an individual are able to be nourished, you know. So with Kulu, you know, I'm able to nourish my more logical, more masculine side. So when it comes to studying or, you know, just speaking on certain topics and discussions and having debates when it comes to, you know, the sciences and things like that and what we're trying to build with that, that side of me can really, you know, be nourished. And then when it comes to the more feminine energy that Zoe has, her creative energy and the music that we listen to and that we enjoy to cook together and make natural products and, you know, all these beautiful things that are within feminine energy, I'm able to experience both of those. And, you know, it is a wholeness, like you said, you know, it's definitely a feeling of wholeness as an individual to be nourished in all of those, you know, the capacities that we can often be nourished in. So, yeah, I definitely wanted to just touch on those and say that I agree when it comes to those benefits, but I also had, a few of my own just personally. And I feel like this is something that is personal to me, and I think a lot of women. I think that one benefit to a poly relationship that is set up the way that ours is, that is very much based within sisterhood, is for a lot of women, you know, within this world, we lack trust towards other women. You know, it's just kind of how we're raised. We're raised to be in constant competition. We're raised to, you know, not uplift each other. We're raised to just have this very lack of trust, jealous energy towards other women. And I will say that me being within this relationship, and I think that a lot of women would experience this as well, is I definitely feel like it helps heal the feminine energy, or the sisterhood just within women in general, you know. Not even just within your relationship, but our interactions, day-to-day interactions with all women, you know. And I definitely feel like being within this relationship really, really does deep healing when it comes to the sisterhood of women, you know, on the planet. So those are my points. I don't know if you want to go ahead and go.
Yeah, sure. So Delina touched it right on the money when, with everything that you said, took the words right out of my mouth. But you really touched on how this dynamic of a relationship really helps allow a space for you to really explore and bring out and express more of who you are. And I feel like that's what having this type of relationship has done for me, and that I've benefited most from, is now I know more of who I am, because at first I've had the time to be able to think on these thoughts, and I've had other individuals in my life who've helped me, you know, find these things out, to have certain conversations that lead you to have certain thoughts. Maybe these are certain things that I'm into, or that maybe this should happen this way. And I feel as if my relationship with Delina has definitely healed my sisterhood for other women and my trust for other women. I was really competitive with other women, and it was something that I didn't even notice that, you know, that I was doing. And fulfilling and creating a bond with Delina has really helped me to be more compassionate towards other women, to think of other women in a different light than I used to think of them. My first thoughts used to be negative. Now my first thoughts of other women is positive. And I want to show appreciation, more gratitude to other women when I see them, you know, and I come in contact with them. So it really has helped change my insight and my view of other women, has created a stronger bond to other women as well.
Okay, Marjorie, can you go next? Because your dynamic is kind of unique, especially since the men that you are in relationship with, you said they don't interact. So how do you navigate as far as the relationship goes when it comes to, I guess, like building, you know, I guess what, you know, the norm term is now, like building a nation, since your men don't really interact with each other?
So, I just actually made a post today about nation building. I'm not against nation building. I really don't think my polyamory is not fueled by the need for a financial increase. I have a privilege of I have a financial privilege. And since I have that financial privilege, I don't necessarily focus on my dynamic in that way. And so I do run across that a lot with people who ask me, like, well, how's the money go? Like, how's the finances? And I'm like, I don't worry about that. Now that has a lot to do with the fact that, now that's not to say that I don't date men who don't make at least what I make or more. And that is something I actively do. That is a choice I make. And I'm sure people are going to frown upon that, but that's how I move my poly. As far as the benefits of poly and how they go for me, especially dating separately, the biggest thing for me dating separately, the benefit of that is the fact that I don't feel like I have to change myself. I don't feel like I have to try to pretend I'm something I'm not. And I felt like doing that. I felt like I was doing that when I was dating couples or having to do anything with triads, especially when they're closed, where you're kind of limited, you're kind of stuck with what you get. And I felt like if I did that, I would have to kind of accept someone for something I didn't really care for. So dating men separately has been very beneficial for me. Dating separately in general has been very beneficial for me. As far as like any long-term plans, income, all that stuff, I know that I want to nest, which is living with someone. And one or more people. And I'm pretty sure that I have a partner currently that I have right now, one of my partners that will be the best option for me nesting, from not just like based upon like his personality, but like socioeconomic, the building concept that comes into play with him, and him respecting the fact that I am always going to be dating separately. I could never see myself going back to monogamy, and I could never see myself going to a closed dynamic, because I have the freedom to, the door is always open. If I never date another man or another woman in my life, it doesn't matter, the door is open. And I get to express myself in ways I wasn't able to with one man or one person. So like with Cornesco, I get to kind of delve into my logic, my darker side, especially with things with, you know, I'm a veteran, so he's also a vet, and it's just really nice for me to do that. And we have a deeply romantic relationship. We're not sexual, which is a whole other level of things. We're not sexual anymore, we're deeply romantic. And then with my other partner, I don't really get to express my feminine side a lot, because I think that for the most part, a lot of men take that for advantage, and they abuse that. And that's why I don't really like dealing with, I mean, I date a lot of men, but I don't like dealing with a lot of men. And so with that one, I do get the feeling of the softness. I do get to express my feminine side and not have it forced upon me of like, oh, you have to do this, we have to wear a dress. And so like, I really appreciate that with him, and his just how he is a person. So I mean, that's my benefits, I guess. As far as like how it looks, it does look different. I know a lot of people see my poly and they're like, well, what's the goal? Because I don't live with my partners, or like, what's the goal? Because I don't have any children. And I really urge people to kind of think that polyamory isn't about goals, it's about multiple loves and maintaining a dynamic with someone you really care about, regardless if it's closed, open, where it's 2 people or 4 people. So there's not really a goal. The goal is happiness. And I do see myself having children. And I like just everyone that spoke before me, all of you guys, I really just wish I could like snap every time you guys were saying something, especially the part about having the balance of like kind of not having to worry about something getting done because there's someone there. And my poly works the same way. I'm terrible with cars. I don't know shit about my car. I'm the worst person with cars. But I know one thing, or 2 things for sure. One of these men can fix my car, okay? And like I know that's a thing that can be done. Or if I'm having issues with understanding, I'm not really good with numbers. So if I'm having issue with stocks or something, one of my partners is really good with numbers. Another partner is an engineer. One of my partners is retired Army guy, and he can help me. He helps me with my VA because I'm a vet myself. So there's so many resources that aren't limited to just like someone, you know, is living with me and all those things. So I have different options. They don't look the same as everyone else's, but I know that I still have the options and the freedom to kind of like, oh, I really need help with this, and who can help me with this? Or a great example is, granted, it's my ex, but when I was gone, I went to Poly Times earlier this year, and I had someone watch my house, one of my boyfriend's ex-boyfriend, but he watched my house while I was gone and took care of my dog. That was a big deal for me. And that's not something you get without due respect, you don't really get that with monogamy. You don't get that option. I had a foot injury last year, I had a surgery, and 2 of my boyfriends, actually 3, were all present in my home, taking care of me, helping me with medication, you know. And so that's something I get the benefit of. And I really appreciate that. And I mean, you can't get that with monogamy. Not saying you can't, I don't think you can. I would never. So I really do enjoy those benefits. And they've made it so that my poly is very fulfilling and just very peaceful as a whole.
Yes, I love it. I do have a follow-up question with you about that. So for your situation, are you okay with the men that you're in relationship with, or long-term, I guess, dating, with them dating other people?
Yes, I actually prefer it. I don't feel quite comfortable with partners who are only dating me. Now, I do have my partners right now are kind of like, for the most part, emotionally and romantically only involved with me. I get a fear, I have an anxiety about being someone's everything, because I dealt with that before in a monogamous relationship, and it was very toxic, and I just don't like it. It makes me very uncomfortable. Like I will like because especially if I can start seeing it seep into my life, I'm like, okay, so now I need you to have some. So I have to like reestablish boundaries and stuff. So I don't mind if my partners actually would prefer if they date other people. And it's not uncommon for them to date other people. I don't typically date the women my partners date. In fact, I actually am notorious for like dropping a woman or not dating a woman if my partner is involved with her. I've had that happen a few times just because of I don't like I'd rather us get to know the person together than you already get the person. I just kind of get pulled into the ropes of that. I don't like that feeling. I'd rather us be an active, like equal mindset than like I was getting invited to the couple and I'm already dating one of the guys. So I do try to avoid that if I can.
Okay. Oh, wait. Can you all hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Well, you made some great points. See, that's another thing that kind of scares me too, is being someone's everything. And I'm kind of like I'm kind of like you in that way. Me personally, I feel like I could either do monogamy or a poly relationship. I'm leaning more towards poly, only because that is a fear of mine. You know, being someone's everything. You know, that person only wanting to spend time with me, only wanting to be with me, only wanting to be around me. That scares me. You know, because I kind of feel like, well, I have my own life I want to fulfill too, and I don't want to always have to. I guess make decisions according to someone else. You see what I'm saying? I kind of enjoy having my own space. I kind of enjoy having my own life. That's one thing that you said that I kind of agree with you to that extent. Like, I could do a monogamous relationship as long as it's not like that person is so focused on me. You know, I don't, that scares me too. And another question that people wanted to know is, well, Michael in the comments actually asked, how do you all handle conflict? You can go ahead and answer.
I'll answer this, okay? So how I deal with conflict, I try to make sure everything's very separate. I don't want, I have a fear of something bleeding over into another relationship. So I don't want, especially with the way my partners are. So although these men are men within themselves, and even arguably the whole quote unquote alpha concept, they are, like, in my mind, what alpha truly is. They're very secure in themselves. But I have to be careful what I say about another partner to them, because they're gonna be like, okay, I don't usually overstep, but I will overstep. And so I had a recent situation probably the past few months where I had an ex that was very problematic, and he was very insecure, and I could see it bleeding over into my other relationships. So I had to be really careful with the conflict that was happening between me and him, and make a really good cut and breakup, because I did not want either of my boyfriends, oh, he's so cute, or he or she, I don't know, and wanted them to get in, for them to get involved into my dynamic, where they're like, okay, well, she can't do it, Marjani's not getting it done, so let me step up to you. And that is something I had to be careful, because with the fact I'm dealing with multiple men, and men tend to be more volatile, and all the men I'm dealing with are all Army vets or active Army guys, and they're ready to fight and ready to shoot. They're already about combat. I had to let them know it's not a war. And so I do a really good job of trying to, I don't mind sharing with them, but I have to be careful what I share with them. And as far as like any encounters where my partners are not agreeing with each other or having issues with each other, that does happen. There's already disagreements. I am actually guilty of myself. I had disagreements before with one of my partner's girlfriends. We operate on the concept that that's your problem, not mine. So if my two partners don't like each other and they just happen to be in the same room together, I have nothing to do with it. Their beef. That's their beef. And they know to not come to me and ask me to pick because I'm not picking, or you both can go. It's just this kind of my thought process is, because if it's not something that has to do with me, you guys don't like each other, then why am I into the mix of this? You guys didn't handle it out for yourself because you're grown adults. And so that is how we do that. It's understanding, and I make sure everyone understands that, hey, if you're joining this dynamic, if you don't like whoever or whomever, for whatever reason, and you don't want to do kitchen table poly, you want to do parallel poly, that's fine, but just be aware, you're not going to give me ultimatum of picking which boyfriend I'm going to have because this boyfriend stepped on your shoes. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And if you can't handle that on your own, I'm not going to do that. So fortunately, I haven't had any too big issues. The biggest one was the ex who is now gone. I quickly got rid of that person because he was causing disruption in my polycule. And as a, even though I try to make sure everything's like balanced, I am still somewhat responsible for who I allow into the space that we are, our relationships. And so I made it upon myself to get, not get rid of him, but just to break up with him and make it very quick and cut and make it dry and like, hey, yeah, I don't want, because I know that you're not going to be able to fight two other men. Like they're both will fight you over me. Just because of the fact that you're causing me disruption and agitation, they will fight you. And I have to be conscious of the fact that while I don't really believe in gender that much, I'm not really into gender thought process, I'm queer. It is something that is people actively live and actively go about, and they do feel some type of way about protecting their partner, even if she has more than one boyfriend. That is their partner, that is their girlfriend. They love her, so I have to make sure that I'm safe for myself, and that my partners don't get involved because they will make something that's probably a level 5 or level 10. So yeah, that's how I handle conflict if I can help it.
I think we have similar views on that, where it's like if two people are having an if two people are having an issue, you guys need to be able to fix it, and that doesn't include me unless you're not able to fix it, and you need to bring it to the table. And if we need to bring it to the table, then it's getting resolved. We don't believe in like going to bed mad at each other. We will stay up till the sun comes up to make sure that everybody is on the same page. You might still be butthurt after the conversation, but it's gonna get deaded. We're not letting this drag on. You can, if you need to take a minute, go ahead. You have your 5 minutes, but after those 5 minutes, you're done. What? After those 5 minutes, like you need to bring yourself back together and thug it out, because we thugged in this house. That's what she said.
I keep forgetting that I need to hit my mic. Hello.
What's up, y'all?
Hello, we're doing fine. How are you tonight?
All is well.
Okay, well, since you all are just coming in, I would like to ask the question: how do you handle conflict in poly relationships?
We have open communication all the time. There's not a feeling that goes by that we don't express. Even if it's happiness, if it's jealousy, if it's anything, anger. Hey, I didn't really like the way, that happened, or I'm feeling this way. We should discuss this. So just open communication. Can y'all hear us?
Okay, well, forgive me because first I'm being rude. Would you all like to introduce yourself and explain what type of poly you all practice?
I'm Amber. We go by the True Family. And we practice.
I guess we're polyamorous. We practice kitchen table poly, and right now we're currently not seeing any other partners.
Monogamous.
Yes. Well, I wouldn't say we're monogamous, but we're not currently seeing other partners at the moment. But we have in the past.
Yeah. So I've had to share my love a few times. we've only been dating a year, so it hasn't been a a big shebang or anything like that. But I have had the experience of having to share her with a few different partners. So I have not yet had a partner, so I'm very, very, very new to the whole poly family.
No.
Legend over there getting down. Well, one thing I wanted to say is I've researched a bit of polyamorous relationships and things like that. And one thing I have learned, even just watching videos from people's personal experience, is that it's good to master monogamy before you can go into being poly or going into a poly relationship. Because you do have that communication, you have an understanding between you and your partner what is expected moving forward when you are going to be dating other people or bringing other people in. So that's fine. I know y'all on the road, so y'all spending a lot of time together. That's good. Another question that people wanted to know is, and myself too, because we are humans, we do have the human experience with emotions, and one of those things are jealousy. So how do you deal with the jealousy in your relationship with your partners?
Are you asking?
Yes. You all can answer first.
For me, it's a lot of shadow work because I like to get to the bottom of why I feel the way that I feel. Like, is it because I feel like I'm not going to have enough time with my partner? Is it because I feel like my partner is going to be taken away from me from somebody else? Like, I like to get to the real specific about why I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling, and then work from there. And it's definitely not easy at all, like at all. But
Yeah.
I like.
Go ahead. Keep going. For me, it's just talking to myself, doing something that makes me happy or that relaxes me. But mainly, it's that voice in my head that's like, "Why do you feel this way?" And then I answer my question, and then I say something like, "Okay, do you feel like she loves you any less?" I continuously ask myself these questions until I'm like, no, I shouldn't feel like this. And then literally an hour later, I have to redo the same questions because, I may start feeling some type of way like, oh my God, I wonder what they're doing. I wonder, are they creating memories without me? And then I have to ask myself, well, why do you feel this way? I got to start the whole cycle over again. And I know it's going to be easier the longer I'm in a poly relationship. But for me, it's just those continuous, like she said, shadow work. Just asking yourself, like, why do you feel this way? Why are you jealous? Like,
I feel like it takes time to get used to like a new dynamic or a new routine because we're so used to what we're experiencing now. So when we add more partners, it's going to be different. So we have to adjust to the change, and that's part of the process as well. It takes time. And once you get through the jealousy and the shadow work and the feeling of the ill feelings or whatever, and you get to that compersion though, it's such a beautiful feeling. Like it helps me through the whole process because I know that once I get through these feelings, these temporary feelings, I'm gonna feel so much love, and that's what I look forward to.
Well said.
So we kind of do the same way. I think in our family dynamic, I am the most jealous person. in our family, and it's something that is very well known, and it's something that I acknowledge. And like you guys had said, doing those mental check-ins of, okay, why do I feel this way? Why did Maya and Posey dipping off into the bedroom make me feel some type of way? Like, why am I tripping right now? And it's like, oh, maybe it's because I haven't seen Posey all day, because we've both been at work and I haven't had my daily dose, So it's kind of acknowledging it. So like acknowledging it, accepting it, and then putting something into action of like, guys, I'm feeling really clingy today, or guys, I'm feeling really jealous and I don't know why. Can you help me talk through it? Like, can you help me figure out why I'm feeling like this? And then I think it also takes a lot of acceptance on the receiving person's part to be like, you know what, I can definitely see why you're feeling like this, or dude, you tripping. You've had me all day. I need you to calm down. Because that is also a very real feeling. And we're just super honest. And like we said, we're super blunt about everything. As soon as we feel something, we say it so that we can dead it and it doesn't destroy the rest of our day.
We talk a lot.
We talk so much.
That's good though. That's really good. Communication is key.
Okay, so I just have a follow-up question for that. Like, when it comes to why you're feeling jealous, or you're in in your feelings or what have you, prior to you getting to that stage, do you all have like a schedule on, like this person gets this day and this amount of time, or on Mondays is date night for these two, and on Tuesday is date night for these two? Like, do you all like plan that out prior to, or does it just flow naturally?
So that's a really great question. When we started off as just the three of us, when we were trying to navigate time management and all of that, there was specific days that would be dedicated to this one person, or we would like switch off. Now that we have grown and been together for so long, and we had two babies and added another girlfriend, where our kind of house motto is just go with the flow. Yeah. So if you spend a lot of time of like, hey, I'm about to go run to the store. Who wants to go? And that's kind of like where we get our little escape time, or our little dyadic time, to be able to, like I said, get that daily dose. Mm-hmm. So you want to add anything?
No, we pretty much still go with the
flow.
Yeah. Like, are you tired? Do you want to go? Do you feel like going to this? And in certain events,
Are you off?
They don't really like some of the same events. Like, Maya doesn't like big crowds. So if I wanted to go to a concert, I most likely would take B. And then with B being so new, she doesn't live here yet. So she just, when she comes out into town, we give her all the time.
Yeah.
Very much.
Oh, okay. I keep on forgetting. I got like a late start on my mic button, but I'm happy that you said that, because that's another thing. That's another thing for me. I'm not super adventurous, and I have always felt almost like I'm holding my partner back in past monogamous relationships. I've always felt like I was holding my partner back from having fun or doing those crazy things, like roller coasters and jumping off cliffs. I'm just not that adventurous. I'm not into that type of stuff. So I feel like that's another reason why polygamy would be a benefit for me too. I don't ever want to feel like I'm holding anybody back, or taking away from the moment that person is experiencing, because I'm afraid of being that adventurous with certain things. So I'm happy that you did bring that up, because that's also another benefit to being in a relationship.
Real quick, I just kind of wanted to touch on that because that's who I am. I'm not a very adventurous person, but because I have partners who are super adventurous, it kind of helps bring me out of that that comfort zone, where like I've been more open of trying X, Y, and Z instead, because I'm a homebody. I don't like going outside. So if it were up to me, we would be inside all day, every day. This quarantine has been life. But they forced me to like go outside and do X, Y, and Z, and it actually helps me become a better person, which in turns makes me a better partner for them. So it's the both side of like I don't have to hold them back, but they help pull me forward at the same time, if that makes sense.
Oh my heart.
So is your question about jealousy? I didn't catch it. I'm sorry. I was watching my dog.
Yes, the initial question was about navigating jealousy, and how do you decide like the time spent with your partner.
So I'm gonna answer that. So I don't really feel jealousy. I maybe feel envy. The difference being envy is like the feeling of like let's say I saw my partner doing skydiving with someone else, another girl, and I don't want to take that experience from him. I just want to do it with him. That's envy. And then jealousy is I don't want him to do with that girl. I want it to be me. I want to be that girl. I want to be in that position. So I don't often feel jealousy. I may feel envy. And then I usually kind of go back over when I feel envy as to like, why do I feel that way? And is it something I actually would do? So like, am I just being like a narcissist and like, I just want to be present because I just want to be present? Because sometimes there's things my partners do and I'm like, I just want to fucking do it. I don't care if I don't like it. I just want to do it. I want to be there. I want to be present. That's it. I did it. And so like one of my partners is really into baseball. I fucking hate baseball. I fucking hate it. I think it's terrible. But when he goes and watches it with other women, I'm like, oh, like, you know, you didn't think to call me to watch baseball? And he's like, you don't watch baseball. You wouldn't even fucking like that. And I'm like, okay, you're right, but I feel you could have called me. And so I have to like go back and like reset that thought process of like, that's why I'm poly. I'm poly because I think people are good for different things. Partners are good for this and partners are good for that. Like I really like dressing up and going out. I like putting on a show. I like the long dresses and gowns. I like cocktail dinners. I like all that stuff. So I pick a partner for that because he's the same way. So I can't get upset. I can't get upset at something that doesn't fit the partner if that wouldn't fit me. So that's usually how I navigate that. As far as jealousy, the one time I felt jealous, I cater and I cook like gourmet meals and I love food. And one of my partners, he wasn't feeling well and he had this girl cook for him. And I was like, I should cook. Like, I'm a better cook than her. So why are you even letting her cook for you? And like, I really internalized that like deep. I was like very, 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 very bitter. Like I was like super salty about it. And I was like, she can't put a sous vide dish. She's never made a dry-ish ribeye. She was here cooking Pop-Tarts and stuff. Like I was just really upset. And it was something I discussed with him. Usually when I feel that way, I try not. I'm not passive aggressive, so like I don't really act on it the way people think people act on it. I just like tell you, like I don't like the way that was, man. I don't like that shit. So I told him how I felt, and we unpacked it, and it kind of came to the point of like obviously me just feeling like I was a better cook, which is a narcissistic thought process, anyways. And then I will be better doing it. When in reality, the reason why he did it with that girl, had her cook for him, was because she's so he's into BDSM, very heavy. And she's a sub, she's submissive. And I'm not submissive. So he wanted her to cook for him as a submissive act. And I was like, oh, sorry, I didn't know. I'm sorry, guys. I want to fuck up y'all shit. Like, sorry, I fucked up everything, being arrogant and narcissistic. As far as splitting up time, I actually run a Google Calendar pretty nicely. I have a Google Calendar on rotation for my partners. I also don't date people or add people to my polyamory that have different love languages, that love languages that require more out of me that I don't already have. I'm not big on quality time or touch. I don't like touching people. And like my idea of physical touch is sex. So like if we're not having sex, then why are you touching me? And so I have to be cognizant of that when I add men or anyone, honestly, to my dynamic, because if someone's heavy on physical touch, they might just want to cuddle. And cuddling takes a lot out of me. Like it's like, what are we doing this for? And so like I try to make sure people I add to my dynamic aren't really heavy on those things. And then I actually schedule in certain things. So right now, one of my partners, Marcus, is very lucky because Cornesco's in Cleveland. Another partner I have is in Atlanta, and the other partner I have is a Comet, and he's in California. So he's really having all the free time to do what he wants to do, all the beach time, all the cuddles, and because I don't have anything else to do right now. So, but beforehand, when I had all my partners present, Google Calendar was a big deal, and then also acknowledging that it's not just like, I don't want to like say you schedule people in. I know it sounds pretty bad, but I schedule them in. Like I use Google Calendar. I shared my calendar with Cornesco because he has a more busy schedule than me, and I try to make sure everything's balanced. So I know that if this person has had a bad week, and if someone has passed away in their family, I probably don't need to be going playing fucking checkers with Cornesco on Saturday. I probably should spend time with the partner that has had a loved pass away. So it's based on logic and their needs, and so that's how I do stuff. And that's only right now because I live separately from everyone. I do feel like it might be a little more challenging when I actually live with someone, because I think that if we're in the same space, we don't need to spend quality time because I'm in the same space as you, and I think that might be a problem for me. And I need to start working on preparing myself for nesting with the thought process. Some people actually don't think quality time is just being in the same house as them. So that's my next step with that.
Okay, ladies, if you want to answer the question our other couple.
Yeah, Delina and Zoe, I don't think they answered that yet, did they?
No, we didn't answer.
No, we didn't answer. Okay. It's your turn.
Okay. Yeah, so I just wanted to speak a little bit on how we handle like feelings of jealousy and things like that. I'll talk from my perspective and how I think that, you know, naturally within just the society that we are raised in, we are taught to be in constant, you know, kind of competition. We're taught to constantly kind of want to be special, you know, and for us being special, we're taught that things are kind of one or the other. You know, you're either right or you're wrong. You know, you're either what's the word I'm looking for? Like we're taught that we're either, you know, things are either right or wrong, that we're either one or the other, you know. And I think that that kind of thinking when it comes to a poly relationship where it's like you're either the one or you're not the one, you know, there's always these choices where it's one or the other. And it really, that mindset kind of really messes with you when it comes to you feeling special. You know, I think a lot of us, we link our specialness to us feeling like we are the one and only, you know, especially within a relationship. And I think that what helps is to think of yourself or you know, people within the relationship as well, and just women in general. I think it really helps to just remind yourself of the beauty and the diversity of all of us, you know, that we all have our special traits and we all have our uniqueness and gifts that are special to us, you know, in our own characteristics. And I feel like that really, you know, really highlighting that aspect of our specialness really helps to kind of combat feelings of competition or feeling the need to, you know, one up someone or something like that. But I also think that another aspect to kind of ask yourself when you are having these feelings of jealousy or competition is, for example, you know, maybe Zoe and Kulu go on a date to somewhere that I really wanted to go to, like a beautiful national park or something. And I could start feeling, feelings of jealousy or, damn, I really wish that I could have gone as well, or I wish that was me. But I think it's really you asking yourself if you truly care about, I truly care about Zoe. I care about her happiness as well. So what does it, why do I want to see her not happy? Why do I not want to see her enjoy life and the things that she wants to enjoy just because I wanted to, that experience for me, or to hog that experience? I think that within a poly relationship, and when you're really developing a strong sisterhood, I think that you truly want to see your sister eat just like you truly want to see her happy. You truly want to see her have amazing feelings just like you. And I feel like that is something that you definitely, or what I see for myself when it comes to Zoe and our dynamic and our relationship, and why I don't feel a sense of competitiveness or jealousy towards her, and have worked through those those programmings and just things that we have been taught, from such an early age. If you want to add on, Zoe.
Yeah, and you said that perfectly right. The only thing I really have to add to that is the way that I deal with jealousy, if or when it arrives or comes up, is I think to ask myself about why I feel the way that I do. Much like Chelsea said, she likes to think back as to why she may be feeling and tries to get to the root and the bottom of it. I do the same thing. And just to have a better understanding about my emotions and the way that I feel, and then I communicate that to them so that we can have a discussion about my emotions and about the way that I feel, so that we can come to some balance, or if it's causing conflict, then a resolution for those feelings. I also want to say that when it comes to spending time with one another, it's now that we live with each other, it's become more fluid and more together, I would say. There isn't much time to where we do have special moments that we don't spend with each other. So if we're, say, going out to the lake or going into a national park, we all do it together. We all try to make sure that each individual feels as included as possible at all times. And that's just how the dynamic has been since we've moved in with each other, and we feel like it's working out really great so far.
And I just wanted to add on to that as well, and just say that, of course, there are times where, one of us may not really be feeling going somewhere, and two of us will just go, and maybe one of us is just feeling, that time could be utilized for us being alone, doing self-care, or, just having proper alone time like some of us need. So I think that everything kind of just flows pretty organically. Within a poly relationship, you are interacting with a lot more energies, and it does take a lot of effort to ensure, especially, if there's relationships between each of the people within the dynamic. It does take a lot of energy to form a healthy bond and a strong connection, and to just keep it, flowing in the right direction. So there is often times where you don't have as much alone time as if maybe you would inside of even a monogamous bond. And so you're going to, I think it makes you a lot more appreciative of the time that you do have for yourself, and what you utilize that for, whether it be healing or, whatever you choose to do within your own alone time and your own space. You really have to be intentional about that. And you you gain a lot more kind of gratitude for your alone time when you enter into a polygamous or a poly relationship.
Okay, one more question I wanted to ask. Well, first again, I want to thank you all for joining the panel. I want to thank everyone for supporting. Um, I would love to do this again and focus on one family at a time because there's so many questions, and I know I was trying to get all of them answered, but I'm not going to keep y'all long. But I would love to do this again and just focus on one family at a time because there's so many questions that I have, and with everyone's dynamic being so different, it'll really be able to educate people on different types of poly relationships. So I just want to thank you all again for coming through and supporting the channel and all of that. Like I've learned a lot and my eyes have been open to a few new things I feel like I need to think about personally. But one thing I also wanted to ask is because there's a notion that the person coming into the relationship has like bad intentions. That's what people on the outside who don't understand what being poly is, that person has bad intentions coming into the relationship. I'm going to share an experience that I had, and you guys can elaborate and speak about maybe what experiences you have had with going into a relationship, being that it's the second wife or second girlfriend, or however you guys I guess introduce each other. So I had an experience a while back when I was dating um this couple, and we had a disagreement in that couple, and one of my insecurities in joining or in going into a poly relationship and actually liking the people that I was getting to know was there being a disagreement and them saying, well, because we've been together longer, we don't want to deal with you no more. You see what I'm saying? So that's the insecurity that I had going into a poly relationship where there was a disagreement, and the woman told me, don't text my boyfriend, leave her, don't text. But I wasn't texting him like that. I was only sharing from my perspective where the miscommunication was in the relationship. And that was one of my biggest insecurities with going into a relationship that was already established, is if there is a disagreement, I'm automatically going to get the boot because they've been in a relationship longer. So has anybody else had any experiences going into the relationship?
Yes, I have to go in there real quick. Sorry. That's why I have a huge aversion to closed triads. So what you just described is something called couples privilege, which is something that a lot of heteronormative couples, so like MF, heterosexual, whatever you want to call it, heteronormative couples deal with. And also heteronormativity is this concept that the male, female, man, woman dynamic transcends all. It's the original, and they create these almost inherited privileges and then implement them into polyamory, which can be almost just so what happened to you was a form of veto. A veto was like, you got to stop talking to my husband or my boyfriend because I'm the one here, and I have a huge issue with that. So I'm sorry you dealt with that. Just hearing that was very upsetting because I've dealt with that. Because I've dealt with multiple triads, and that's not all triads. I know someone's like, oh, not all triads do this, but it is an insecurity that I can see being a thing. And this is why anyone who's looking to polyamory, who's a couple that wants to date together and they're like hell bent on dating together, whatever, you really need to unpack your couple's privilege, and you need to unpack the fact that you're inviting someone into a space and you want them to feel comfortable. Okay, I'm not saying that the girlfriend that you just met 2 months ago was going to be equivalent to your wife in 15 years. No one's expecting that, but they deserve to. A lot of problems that couples have, they have these rules already preset, and you're expected to agree with the rules, and you're someone that's included into the relationship. Those rules need to be thrown in the trash can. Those rules are separate. Those are rules that you guys made, and that you cannot, as a new person, in addition to the relationship, cannot make those same rules to apply to them because it's not that way. A good rule example I will use is a wife saying, which happened to me, every time you have sex with her, I need you to tell me you having sex with her. Now, if I requested that of him, every time you have sex with your wife, you need to tell me, that would be like, what is wrong with you? This is my wife. Like, so that's a couple's privilege. That's a toxic monogamous concept that's been implemented into polyamory. So yeah, I definitely think that anyone who's thinking about this, who feels enlightened to like, I want to be a part of a triad, I want the magicalness. All the people who are talking up here, whether it's the Posey family with their quad, whereas the triads, the polygynous couples, polygamous dynamics, they took work. It's not something you can just do overnight. And I know you have people who are following you who are like, who are in this chat. I want them to be fully aware this is not something that happens overnight. I am a completely different bubble. I am the almost a byproduct of multiple bad triads. I know it sounds terrible, but I'm the byproduct of multiple bad triads. Even if they were closed, it was a bad concept. And I was like, I don't feel like this is something I want to do. Even if they were good, I probably would have eventually became open and preferred solo poly. But the fact that there was so many of them did definitely put a bad taste in my mouth, because it's very disheartening, it's very upsetting, and it's a really bad feeling, where you thought you were valued, and then you're like, no, you get out. They throw you to the side like an object. And so it's very important that while you guys are seeing these people who are talking, that you understand that they took time. It's something that take weeks. It's not something like, oh, like last night, yeah, we met this girl at the club and we're a triad now. That's not how that works. And so that is something I really hope that your audience understands when they start looking for these dynamics, that you have to unpack one, couples privilege. Google it. Couples privilege is a thing. And then also unpacking vetoes and why vetoes are inherently toxic. Even if you're into a hierarchical based time dynamic, it is still toxic to tell someone that they love or they care about, you're no good, I don't like you anymore. And so I'm sorry that you dealt with that. I had to just drop in real quick. I'll pull out because I'm not in a triad right now. I want to open triad, but I'm not in one right now. That's something that's a thing. So I'm going to deal with that.
No, that's fine. It needed to be said. It needed to be said, because that is something that people have to understand, that when you're coming into a relationship, you have insecurities too. Don't think that because a woman or a man or anyone coming into a relationship, that they don't have insecurities about their relationship. So I'm gonna let you guys go ahead and answer, because I saw you.
For me personally, being the new girlfriend, one of the first things I asked them actually when we were dating was, what would happen if we were to break up? Like, I wanted to know what, their rules were in the family dynamic that they already set up, because I'm the newcomer. Like, I didn't know if it would just be like, I leave and that's it, or if we all break up. And they let me know that, like, it's basically all or nothing. Like, we're all together or we're not together at all. So if someone's relationship isn't working and we can't fix it and we break up, then we all just break up. So I'm not really concerned about being booted out, because I have that security of knowing that, which also will make you work harder to fix the relationship, because, you have a lot to lose.
Yeah, we call it our musketeer rule. Yeah. So it's all or none. Especially with us having kids. If you made it this far to the point that our kids are introduced to you, we can't just boot you out the island, right? Because we're building a village for them, so we're gonna have to work on co-parenting. We had that conversation earlier. Like, we really did. If this doesn't work, this is how we would have to co-parent. This is like how we would have to set.
You guys are getting Tuesdays. You could go ahead and drop him off on Wednesday. Like these were. It was very like. For me personally, it was very almost scary having that conversation, because I'm very much like, if you want something to happen, then you need to put it out into the universe. Mm-hmm. And so I felt like we were putting the mindset of like this isn't going to work out into the universe, where it was more of I needed to make sure that my partner felt secure before anything could move forward, before we could get to the good spot of like this is us.
This is the family dynamic, because like, and the transparency of having that conversation even before the girls came of, if this doesn't work, I need to make sure I'm having kids with the right people, that their interest is always at the forefront of everyone's mind, and two, that we can actually put into it. So like, let's say we're arguing, but we're on to the side. If we need to bring it to the table and we all can't fix it and be held accountable, then we all need to walk our separate ways, because that's not fair that you put this much time and effort and then you're seeing me on Instagram like still with the bae. No, we don't do that.
And I want to add to that, when, like you said, if you guys are arguing and one of you snap off on me, I'm going to go to you guys. Y'all need to fix it. If y'all don't fix it, we got a problem.
That's more common than you think. They'll be like, Posey, go fix it.
Yeah, I've been told to fix it a lot.
Like, okay. Like as an outsider looking into a relationship, it's very easy to be like, y'all beefing. I don't know if you guys need to step out and go on a date and spend some time together, but you're not going to bring that negative energy around something good that we may have going on that day, or something that your anger is not going to affect my circle, so you better fix it before it does.
Yeah, we're very big on you control your happiness and sadness. Just because you're sad doesn't mean I have to be sad.
Right.
Yeah.
And I will support you through it, but I don't have to be in it with you.
Exactly.
So that we're really big on like, do you need some time? Do you want to talk about it with me? I'm not going to cry because you're crying. So even if we're not agreeing, I can touch bases with you later. We'll take an hour or a day and figure it out, but it also helps to have more than one ear, because sometimes I am an asshole and they'll be like, Posey, you're being an asshole. You need to go fix it. That's fine, because I might not realize that in a monogamous relationship. It's only two of y'all. So if you both think you're right, who's going to be
like,
wrong?
I think you're tripping and you think I'm tripping, but then they're like, nah, both y'all tripping. And it's like, well, shit.
I can see that. Maybe y'all just need snacks. Maybe y'all can go ahead and go.
You know what? That makes sense. We live in Vegas. We're hot. We could be dehydrated. Like, you know.
So we try to take all that into account, but we don't want anyone to feel like they're disposable. Because if, like you said, if you made it this far into our hearts and our homes, because we don't let anybody in the house.
No.
Nobody. I got people that know me for years. They never stepped a foot in my house.
We got trust issues.
This is my safe space, and if you made it this far, I need to make sure that you are safe in my safe space.
Yeah.
All of that being said,
no, you can get out, baby.
Cute baby. It is the kids' bedtimes, and they're turning up behind us, so we are gonna hop off and let put them to bed. But thank you so much for having us. We are very interested in coming on here again and connecting and answering everybody's questions and all that. So
I'm gonna add all y'all.
Thank you. Yeah. Make sure you guys follow us on at Team Posey on Instagram and follow us on YouTube. Yeah.
I know, we're gonna put you to sleep. Shut up.
I hate when I do that. I talk and I'm still muted. We'll post your information in the bio. Thank you so much for coming through. Thank you. Thank you. I would love to have you again. Like I said, we had so many questions and you guys have been an awesome panel and I'm learning so much. I want to do it again, but focus on one family at a time. Thank you. Okay. Okay, Zoe and Delina.
Yeah, we're here.
Okay, have you all had any experience with something like that, like coming into a relationship? Have you had any negative experiences?
So Delina, I would be the one that was entering this relationship. And I wouldn't say that I had any negative experiences. I feel like from the beginning I was pretty reassured. I think that at the beginning of us building our bond, it definitely was a little bit more shaky. It was a little bit more. Hold on, I'm just fixing my mic. Okay, is everything good now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so like I was saying, I think that in the beginning of our, us developing our bond, it definitely was, you know, a feeling of insecurity, coming into a relationship that is already developed. You do feel like an outsider or that you can be easily replaced. But I think that that's the initial feeling of, any relationship before you truly kind of discover, okay, this is, the ways in which we fit together. And, if we're wanting to take this to the next level as far as, it being truly a lasting relationship, So I think in the beginning, just like any relationship, you have feelings of insecurity if it's not going to work out, or if it's, if you're not going to be with this individual, it's just with more than one individual. And I think that, as we developed our bond and we saw how our lives fit together and the goals that we had, they offered more reassurance when it came to our bond and our relationship, and ensuring that I didn't feel like, I could be easily replaced, or they could just, drop me whenever they wanted to. I think that, we all had a discussion where we, um, stated that we were all, within this. I don't know if you want to speak on this as well, Zoe. Or... No. Okay.
Is that it? If it is true, family, you guys can go ahead.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, true family. Are we pause? They on the road, y'all.
Okay, so I actually have had experience where I was in a. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, if you're not speaking, can you mute? I'm not sure if I'm hearing something else like little ticking, but we can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes. Can y'all hear us?
Yes, can you hear us? Well, can you hear me? I don't think she can hear us.
This part was very good. Yeah. I think it's
Okay, can you hear me?
Why is this happening to us? By the same couple. It's not a good feeling at all. It's not a good feeling at all. I hear you.
Can everyone else still hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't think they can hear us. I wanted you to go ahead and I wanted to get them to answer their question. To answer their question. They may need to drop off and rejoin. It's like a lot of feedback.
I can hear you. But can you
Said that
guys
she
hear
can't
us?
hear us. Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
I'm gonna type in. Ash, can you type in the chat that we can hear them? Tell her to go ahead and answer the question, and then we're gonna close it out. We're gonna get to closing it out. Okay. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, I'm not sure what's well, I know that they are on the road, so they're probably in the area where they're not getting good signals like they were earlier. But thank you all so much for coming through. And like I said, I would love to do this again and focus on one family at a time next time. I just thought that this would be a great opportunity just to bring to the forefront that there are different aspects of poly relationships, and people have different ideas on what being okay. Can you all hear?
Yes, can y'all hear us now?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Okay, we had to leave and come back. I'm so sorry, y'all.
No,
Okay,
it's
Bay was
fine.
telling
I'm
us
about
couples privilege.
couples privilege.
Yeah. So I was dating a couple, and it was like the overall relationship was very beautiful. Like I got over my initial jealousy because this was the first poly relationship that I was in, and I kind of felt like I wasn't a part of their relationship, like I was an outsider, and I kind of got over those feelings, but it kind of stuck with me the majority of the relationship because they did have couples privilege. There were certain things that I didn't know at all about the relationship, that I was left in the dark, and I didn't have control over what happened in my relationship as much as I would have liked. And I eventually ended up getting vetoed out because a boundary that they created for themselves was broken, and I guess I was just on the receiving end of that. And it's definitely something that couples that are looking to start triads or add another partner to their current relationship should be aware of. Like, we're not just disposable. Like, women aren't just disposable, and we have feelings, and it really it's like any breakup that anyone will go through. Like, it's definitely something that hurts, and I think couples should really understand that when they get involved. Yeah, it's really a tough subject to talk about still because it kind of happened fairly recently, and I'm still like going through the woes. But yeah, it's not a good experience at all.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your experience. Been there. I know how you feel. Do you all have any closing statements that you would like to make? I'll let you all start. True family.
We just want to say
thank you so much for considering us for the panel. We would definitely do this again. Hopefully next time, we'll be in the tropics somewhere, in nature with the best Wi-Fi ever. So we definitely enjoy the talk because we talk like this all the time. I've never seen a quad before.
I know. What's it
before? A lot of stuff is really new to me. So it was really cool just to hear their point of views. And you got something to say? Yeah, I enjoy having conversations. A lot of poly Facebook groups, but to actually get to talk to somebody and see someone's face it's a really enjoyable experience. So thank you. Thank you so much, KissTheVeil. I'm not sure your name. KissTheVeil, you are awesome for building this platform for everybody to talk to.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you all. I'm thankful. I'm grateful.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm saying, look like you talking, but I didn't know if your phone was still muted. Okay, I'm gonna mute up.
Okay. So yeah, thank you for creating the platform for different types of polyamorous and polygamous dynamics to be on. I haven't really seen it often, other than one group I follow. I'm very active in is Black Poly Nation. So thank you for being able to not just like obviously triage, but the fact you're including different types of sexualities is a really big deal. That's not often seen at all. Like I'm more common than a female, all female triad or all female quad. That's not. So it was very enlightening for me. Different people who are navigating polyamory and or like two women alone. Like that's not ever like seen. It's always like, oh, it has to be the women have to be with the men. And so I do think thank you for affording that privilege and that platform for different type of dynamics to exist and for people to see that, because it's very, very, very important. It's very important. I do think there's an oversaturation in the polyamorous community, the Black polyamorous community with MFF triads, and there's no offense to anyone who's an MFF triad, but we need to let other voices speak so that the MFF triads don't speak on behalf of other polyamorous dynamics. That's not fair, and it's not appropriate. So I'm an educator with polyamory. People have seen my posts, maybe, I don't know, whatever. So with that said, I highly suggest anyone in the audience to, because I am like an educator at Polyamory at Heart, to educate themselves on polyamory, love languages, and to unpack those really uncomfortable things when it comes to polyamory. If I don't leave with anything else, if all you remember is that, oh, this girl fucks multiple men, I don't care what you think about. I don't give a fuck. All I care about is that you investigate and educate yourself on polyamory so you don't create more trauma. Because the difference with trauma and monogamy versus polyamory is there's more people that can get affected. And so I would highly suggest people look into different dynamics, read certain books, and understand what they're looking for, and also acknowledge your insecurities. If you're insecure about something, like I only want women to do this, then why? Why do you only want to date women? And investigate that and unpack that. And it's okay, because you're not the only one. So once again, thank you for the platform. Thank you for letting me speak. You say you'll add or like at later on, but if anyone follows my page, just be aware. You can ask me questions, but this is not my personal social media page. It's an educational page that I have. So just be conscious of that. I may not follow you. It's just a educational page on polyamory. Thank you.
Thank you so much for those encouraging words. That was really encouraging to me, because I was when I was looking for everyone to join the panel, I was focused on trying to make sure I found different dynamics of relationships. Like I said, because so many people only feel like it's a man and women in polyamorous relationships. So I was gonna look high and low until I found everybody. I felt like I wanted to include everybody. So thank you again so much for that. Zoe and Delina.
Yes. So we definitely appreciate you, creating this platform for us to all speak on. And we really appreciate how you were able to have us all come together to highlight the beauty and the diversity within poly relationships. I think a lot of people, like you said, have only seen a few examples of poly relationships, and those examples that they see may turn them off from the idea or deter them from thinking about possibly pursuing a relationship that is polyamorous or polygamous, or all the various forms that we've seen from all of these wonderful people tonight. And so hopefully this has opened up people's minds when it comes to poly relationships and the different dynamics, to which where they can really customize it so it can really be their own thing, and really work for them and the individuals that they decide to become involved with. So yeah, we are, you can find us at Elemental 9 Harmony on Instagram and YouTube. You can also follow our personal pages, mine at Celestial Creatress and Zoe's at Light and Golden. We have, we're working on our van right now. We're on our van life journey, so we're in the process of converting our van right now. If you guys are interested in, kind of seeing us, transform that and the whole alchemy process of that. And we have a lot of other things to offer when it comes to, natural hair products and recipes and just so much. So, if you vibe with us, then definitely check us out and tune in. And we would love, again, I also want to stress, we really loved this and enjoyed this, and we would love, if you were to create something like this again, we would definitely want to be a part of it. So thank you so much.
Thank you all so much. Y'all have made me feel so much better. I was so nervous at first, but I enjoyed the experience, and I enjoyed spending time with you all and learning, because I've actually learned a lot. I've known a little bit about polyamorous relationships, but I learned so much tonight, and I'm looking forward to learning more and more. I see Kulu in the chat. You welcome, Kulu. Thank you. Ash, do you have any words you would like to say?
I just want to reiterate and thank everyone again for joining the platform and the panel, and for being open to sharing their lives and their experiences, and the different dynamics of a poly relationship. Because like Kiss said, the only knowledge that I really had or knew of is, a man with multiple wives, or a man with multiple partners. It's very rare that you see women, with multiple partners, or women being the leading person or the head of the relationship. And I've been making jokes, like, leading up to us being on the panel, like, the only way that I could be in a poly relationship is if I have, like, a butcher, a baker, and a candlestick maker. So I'm like, I'm really I'm really glad that Marjorie was on here, because, like, that I believe, like, that is the only way that I could see myself in a poly relationship. You know what I'm saying? So I really appreciate, that aspect of it, and just learning, like, the different aspects of that, and how, each relationship is navigated, as far as dealing with time and conflict, and, the workforce and the household and things like that. So I really appreciate you all. And I thank you guys also for being open to, coming back to join us again, for part 2 when we do this again.
Thank you. Okay, boss, do you need all of us to hop off?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for everything. Yes, earlier we were having technical difficulties because StreamYard has some issues when it's showing people on the panel and us trying to share the screen. So again, I do apologize, but thank you so much for taking your time to spend with us. All right, you guys have a good night.
That's us.